This is a Glass Box Media podcast. Welcome, everyone. We are back with another Shorty edition of My Worst Day.
February edition.
2020.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, February. We've already done one for January.
Yeah.
Jesus.
This is
Jesus.
2020.
Yes.
February
Did you see-
2020.
Did you guys see the thing where it was like Barbara Walters just saying 2020 over and over? And it's like 2020.
Isn't it kind of amazing
2020,
that Barbara
2020.
Walters became like such a massive like on-screen personality with that lisp she's got?
Yeah.
I love it.
Like,
Yeah.
great. I love it. She's got so much character. It's just interesting. Like these things that we think are barriers for ourselves, like maybe they're not. I have to say, honestly, because I edited that Private Parts Unknown episode, and so it was a lot of listening to my self-talk.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I hated my voice so hardcore. By the end of that, I was just like, look, man, anyone who can tolerate binging our podcast, more power to you, because what happened to me?
Yeah.
I moved to Los Angeles, and then my voice became the most annoying voice of all time.
Oh,
Listen, I'd love to blame it on
laying
LA,
down
but-
on vocal fry, hardcore, mixed with that Midwestern accent, just really
Those hard A's.
hard A's, really.
Yeah,
Just-
lovely, beautiful. I mean, it is interesting the like mix of accents you get whenever you move here, because there is something maybe very relaxing about living in California that like just relaxes your vocal cords,
Your
And
diaphragm.
you do get that like real intense vocal fry.
Yeah.
We're doing so much more yoga, you guys.
Oh,
It's
totally
so
relaxed.
Just
chill.
drinking so much kombucha.
Oh my God.
And all the crystals.
Wow.
And the crystals.
Look, honestly, you guys, I would love to blame Los Angeles for the way my voice sounds. There's no fucking excuse for how horrible my voice is. And I
No.
apologize.
Well,
At least you guys don't have to hear me hard laugh all the time.
I had no frame of reference for how my voice sounded before, really. So maybe it was always annoying. Actually, do you guys remember? I have a vivid memory, like can picture it, where I was the first time I heard my voice on tape.
Oh, yeah.
And I was shooketh, because I was probably, I don't know, I was in elementary school and we had one of those recorder voice message boxes.
Oh, okay.
And I had called my mom from my friend's house.
Oh, that's the worst way
And
to hear
I
yourself
had like
too.
left a voicemail for my mom, just being like, "Hey mom, I made it over here safe," and blah 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 blah. Because that's what we did. You know, you like rode your bike to your friend's house, and then your mom would be like, "Call me when you get there." And,
Right.
You know, you made it safe. So that's what it was. And I remember hearing my voice shocked. I was like, "Is that what I sound like? Is that what I sound like?"
I have a book that I'm reading right now. It's called, I think, Music, the Brain, and Ecstasy. And it's literally all about the science of listening, the science of hearing, the actual it is fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
Because to me, in my head, I'm like sultry toned, like super, super deep. And then I
same.
listen to it back, you know, when I'm doing the editing, and I'm like, wow, but I remember the first time I heard my voice, because I don't know if you did this shit when you were a kid. We had one of those big stereos with the fucking double tape thing. And I used to pretend that I was a radio DJ. Yes! It was just the best.
Yes.
And you record the songs from the radio.
Original podcasts.
Oh,
Yes.
Also.
I was OG. I was OG, and you were fire when you got it. When you got the
Yes.
song
Oh, yes.
without the DJ talking over
Yes.
top of it.
That I did that all the time. You made like custom mixtapes, and they would tell you, like Casey Kasem would tell you what's coming up next. So you would like prepare yourself.
Sweating.
You're like, all right, Shaggy's "It Wasn't Me" is about to start. So you prepare, fingers hovering over the record button.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
I remember, okay, so I don't remember, obviously, my first recorded voice, but because my very first words were sitting on my sister's lap. So I grew up, like I've told you guys, in a house of musicians. My dad was in a band. My sister sang. So my sister's 18 years older than me. I was sitting on her lap, and she was singing, "Ooh, baby, baby.
Yeah.
So my first words are ooh, baby, baby. And it's recorded on a reel-to-reel. That's how fucking old my ass is.
Oh, so, Cassie.
Clearly don't remember that. However, what I do remember
God, I want to do the trap version of that. I want to sample you doing that and do a trap thing.
That's awesome. So ooh, baby, baby were my first words. And then, but my best friend Sarah and I, we had the tape recorder, not the big one, like the one that's like, the little small
little one.
Yeah.
And we used to record
We had one of those
underneath my table in my living room. So we had the
You were an OG podcaster.
We were the Sarah Miller and I were the first OG podcasters sitting under my table telling stories
into tape
recorder.
Have the handheld one that had the little teeny tiny tape in it?
Oh no!
I felt like I was an investigative reporter.
Doctor.
Yeah, I was like I'm a private investigator. Yes, exactly. It was like one of those little handheld ones where the tape was probably like 2 inches tall. It was like so tiny, and then you held it in your hand and you like click the button.
Yeah,
and I felt like a private eye. I was like, this is amazing,
dude. That's awesome.
I wonder if those tapes exist somewhere.
I want that now. I want to dig in my parents' like attic and find those like DJ tapes and stuff. Like we used to have big ass cases of tapes too, and like I had all the Gem. You remember?
Yes, and
all the Gem and the holograms tapes and shit. Oh my god!
My favorite thing to do was record. Like I remember every week because we didn't have cable for most of my childhood, and I remember every week Wonderful World of Disney would put on a new movie on Friday nights, I think, or Saturday nights, and I would get a blank tape. I would make sure we had blank tapes in the house so that I could record whatever was on Wonderful World of Disney, and it was the same thing because you wanted to pause it right when it went to commercial, and get it back right when it came back.
Yes.
And you wanted to not get any like clip of like a Chips Ahoy in between. You know what I mean? So it was, that's right. But I was just talking to my little brother's been staying with us for the last couple of weeks, and I was just talking to him about how I need to go home and I have like bags and bags. I kept all of my notes that were passed to me in high school.
Oh my god!
And like I have them all. Like they're up in my mom's attic, and I'm like, I want to go get
rereadings.
Honestly, and God bless if we were to read my diary. Oh my god, so embarrassing.
I do know my mom's sitting on a stack of diaries because I started writing.
I'm sitting on a stack of poems.
Oh yeah. Oh god,
even more cringy.
8-year-old poetry.
You thought you were like so deep.
So deep.
Can we also talk about this because it blew my fucking mind, and I know I'm pretty sure that we're all on the same page here. I know you and I are, Christina, but the having an internal monologue or not.
Oh yes.
Like, okay, so whenever I think in a voice that sounds like my voice in my head. I think in full sentences.
And I can have conversations with that voice.
I sort things out.
Do you ever do it in a foreign act? Like sometimes I do in French.
You're crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. But I bet you for people who are bilingual, that's not unusual at all.
Yeah, probably not.
You know, because I have a friend
I'm not
who
even
speaks
fully bilingual, but I definitely talk to myself in French sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the science is behind it, but like I'm very much like that's how I think. That's how I read. When I read, it's like an audiobook in my head. I hear my voice reading the book, right? And I also visualize it at the same time. And there are some people who just don't do that at all. Like to the point where they think that the voiceovers in movies are some kind of construction. Right? Like some kind of like artistic license is being taken because they didn't know that was possible.
Yeah.
So, you know, like when you watch You and you've got like Joe Goldberg doing that narration of basically like the voice inside his head the whole time, it makes sense to us because it's like, those are his thoughts.
Yeah.
But to those people, they're like, oh, it's just a narrative device to move the plot forward. They don't understand that like that's how people think.
They don't hear
because they don't hear
their
themselves.
Voice. Their thoughts are just,
isn't that
I know.
Like shook. Like how? How do you...
I mean, I'm actually kind of jealous of those people because that voice in my head is sometimes a cunt, if I'm honest.
No, I mean, I honestly think because it was funny, I posted that article to our Facebook page and had people comment on it. And someone commented who doesn't have the voice in their head. Yeah. And they were like, I bet you it really helps your anxiety to have the voice. And I was like, actually, it makes my anxiety much, much worse because I'm actually able to hear my voice saying like
these shitty things,
or I'm having running thoughts constantly. Like it's constantly hearing my voice, like analyzing shit.
The voice in my head is a weird mix of like my mother and like a mean ass fucking coach that's just constantly like yelling at me sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Where it's just like, Jesus. And not having that in my head where someone's just like, come on, you piece of shit, walk it up. Like, you know, like...
Or a constant running list sometimes. Like there's always a running list of like, you have to do this, then you have to do this, and you have to do that. And like, here's
why
something.
Can't you do this?
Here's something you have to worry about. Did you think of that thing that you need to worry about? What about this thing? You know, like.
Well, that's usually when I'm trying to sleep though.
Yeah, running thoughts. And like, and it keeps you from sleeping. Yeah. You know?
Dude, has it changed since, because I remember when you were talking about the coach thing, when I was younger, my abusive voice was actually like the drill sergeant from
Full Metal Jacket.
Oh
my God. Yeah.
Because it was like, I don't know. I have a lot of issues. So, but I think it was because my dad was in the military and I wanted to be in the military and I always wanted to be the good kid. And my dad used to tell me things that were like, well, the boys always admit when they're wrong. So I had this kind of like, I have to admit when I'm wrong and I've got to walk it off and I got to man up and no, you know what I mean? Like that was the voice that I had back then. Like as a kid, I fully remember being like, that's not how a soldier would act. You know what I mean?
My
like,
voice has gotten way more passive aggressive
as
I've gotten older, which I do not appreciate.
No.
My voice has turned into a little bit of a Karen from what it is. Where she's like, oh, really? You're going to leave those dishes again? Ooh. You don't have time to do them? I'm like, yikes. Jesus. Chill out.
Whoa, cunt.
I know.
Back off. Yep.
Like, back off. But yeah.
I just find that fascinating. If you're somebody who doesn't have an internal monologue or an inner voice,
I want to know.
Like write into us. Let us know what your thoughts are comprised of, because I knew that everyone processes information differently.
Yeah.
But I never really thought about that. And then someone brought up the point where they're like, oh, well, what about people who are born deaf? Like, what do their thoughts sound like?
Blew my mind.
Right?
Now.
Because it's just like,
of course.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
It's interesting. Anyway, something to think about. Marinate on that.
Should we
chew
go
on that a little bit?
To a would you rather?
Yeah. So for the listeners, it's amazing that we got like this far into the show doing would you rather questions, and I didn't realize until I was going through all my games in my closet that I have a deck of cards that's just would you rather questions.
Amazing.
So I drew one of those cards, and there's a this on it, and I think this is kind of an interesting one. So,
okay,
would you rather marry a boring millionaire or a brilliant starving artist?
Oh, fuck me.
A boring millionaire.
I am exciting enough all by myself.
You're like,
honey.
You know what? I actually think,
Mama
and
I can entertain myself.
Honey, Mama didn't raise no fool. My mom always said, you marry for money first and then you marry for love.
Oh, dear.
And I did not do that. My mom was right. But
I think that I'm a bit of a romantic, and so like I was raised on the concept of like love conquers all and you marry for love and et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, I literally just rolled my eyes out loud. I'm so sorry.
However, looking at this, here's the deal. When I think of a brilliant starving artist, it actually conjures someone in my head who's probably pretty insufferable.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Like, because I'm like, he probably knows he's brilliant.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He probably thinks that his art is more important than actually supporting himself or you. So I'm going to go with the boring millionaire. I'm assuming he loves me and he's just white toast, and that's fine.
Fine.
Well, I am going to do the exact same thing. Boring millionaire. Yeah. Here is the deal. Like, when I was younger, a brilliant starving artist, like the idea of a relationship was like your life. And now as I'm older, I'm realizing how rich my life is and how rich I am outside of a relationship. I am going to get fulfillment from my friends, my own hobbies, my own
That's
shit.
Right.
Because like Cassie said, I'm fucking interesting enough on my own. Mm-hmm.
Here's the deal. That millionaire will give me a couple $1,000s and send me into a Michael's. I can entertain myself.
I can entertain myself.
Seen Erica Jane. That bitch married a fucking boring ass billionaire and is fucking killing it.
Yeah, as long as he's nice to me and likes me.
Yeah.
we're fine. We're good. Like, I'll watch like a documentary on Nat Geo with you. That sounds great.
Listen,
actually, it's chill.
Starving artists are all romantic and shit until you get to the nitty gritty and you are doing the fucking dishes for them all the time and you are fucking supporting them, and it's like you feel like
everything
mother.
in your house is covered in paint. I dated a starving artist one time, and he used my great grandmother's china as a palette. A paint palette.
I want to kill you. I hate you so much.
I came home and I was like, I'm sorry, the fuck?
I've said this so many times. I've bought so many fucking bass guitars and I don't fucking play. So
how about that?
How about that?
What about that? I know.
Keegan Winfield, you were over here. We had a birthday cake for Anthony, and I had one plate that was for my grandmother's china set that I was specifically handed over
You gave
to you.
to me because you're like, look,
I trust you.
you know the importance.
I trust you. And now my heart knows that you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, man. I mean,
hit.
and that's the thing. And as somebody who currently might fall in the category of starving artists, not as romantic as you think it is.
no,
Look,
being poor is not romantic. It
it's
sucks.
not as fun as you think it is. Right now, I'm legit like, look, I don't like working in an office, but I'm like, if I got to do that for the next however many months until my wedding, I think I need to. Like, I'm like, I want to strike that balance between like, yeah, do what makes you happy, do what you love, be happy, but also like, girls got to eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
No shit. Dude, when I got popped this week, because here's what's fun. Here's what's fun. So the last 2 years I've been single, doing my own thing and everything. And there are things that I have put priority on, focusing on my mental health and deciding to pay and to see a therapist regularly. Prioritize maybe paying parking tickets. However, you can only do that so long before you have to pay the piper.
How much money was it
I had
in parking tickets?
$735.
I am appalled. You texted that to me and I caught my breath.
Yeah.
Like my breath caught in my chest.
I was so lucky that I had that in my account.
How are you not in jail? That's my question.
Jesus.
I'm sure you had a warrant out for your fucking
Absolutely you
arrest with that.
did. You are so lucky that some shitty cop from Burbank didn't decide to pull you over for no reason. Like,
know.
honestly.
I know. But
Horrifying.
Yeah, so luckily that's taken care of
You're
now.
getting your
We
shit
can
together.
all-
You're paying your parking tickets. You've got a case on your phone. Life is good.
I know.
Okay.
Dude,
Who
it
do
took
we think
it took
we are?
2 years, but here's the thing. That is part of the fun of being poor, is that you can decide to
Playing
go
that game?
You can decide to go to therapy because you're like, I'm really fucked up about this and I don't know what I'm going to do. Or you can pay parking. Like, you have to make those kind of choices.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Or in this country, it's like, listen, your girl doesn't have health insurance.
Same.
What's up?
Yeah.
Hope I don't get the coronavirus because I'm
Same.
double deuces if
Yeah.
that happens.
Love
Exactly.
you.
Honestly.
Love you, mean it.
Goodbye.
yeah. It's the realist. Happy America.
Anyway, should we get into stories?
Yes,
maybe?
yes.
Our listeners who hate chit chat are like, oh, the fuck.
I know.
Move
Sorry,
on.
guys. So I will start. I have a shorty.
Okay.
So first and foremost, there's been a billion threads lately of the worst date, and one of these was from replying to postgrad Barty. And this person is at Rebecca Adkins Beck, which
Okay.
makes this even fucking better.
Beck,
Nice.
Makes this even
is she
better.
changing in a bay window, just fully nude?
She says, OMG, I went on a date with a surgeon that I met through work, and he took me to Wasabi and didn't eat himself, but watched me eat. Then,
don't
Absolutely
like
not.
that.
Murderer.
then followed me home or followed my car home with his lights off in the dark,
Honey.
thinking I wouldn't notice.
Honey.
Then texted me asking me if I got home safe yet. He saw me get home.
Was he wearing a blue baseball cap?
Girl, that's
Like,
what I'm saying.
So scary.
It's so scary. It
Listen,
reminds me.
Why did you go to your house? Is my question.
Yeah.
Thank God my brother lives like so near me. Cause
Oh, I know where the police station is, and
Yeah.
if I don't, I will fucking pull it up on Google Maps.
It
Right.
reminds me of, not to spoil anything for anyone, but the second season of Killing Eve. Did you see that?
Oh, I haven't seen the
Oh
second
my
season.
God. There's the second season of Killing Eve. There's a scene like that where this like fucking psychopath takes her out to dinner and orders for her, doesn't order anything for himself, and just watches her eat.
I don't like that at all. Nothing of that.
No joke. 2 times in my early 20s, I was followed in a car on the road. The first time I lived by the police station in my small town. And what I did is I pulled right up to the police station because I was like, oh, you want to follow me, motherfucker? You want to follow me? Come on. Let's go and let's go have a conversation. And they sped away from me. The second time I was like in a neighborhood and I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, this person is definitely following me. And I think I had a friend with me at the time too. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I pulled into like this random neighborhood into a random person's house and just laid on my fucking horn. And I was like, I'm not going to my fucking house.
Right.
You're not going to follow
That's
me
actually
to my
smart,
fucking house.
quick thinking, because like when you're in a situation like that, like you're trying to quickly analyze your options. It's
and
scary.
getting home is the first thing I think of most people think of.
Yeah. They're like, there's a safety that you feel whenever you're like, oh, I'm home and I'm safe. But like, yeah, you don't want to take somebody. I remember one time, dudes, please stop doing this shit. One time I was walking I lived in North Hollywood and I was walking to the grocery store and there was a
shortcut.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, there was a shortcut to get to the grocery store through an alley.
Oh, okay.
And so, and it was an alley wide enough for a car to drive through. And I was walking through and a whole car full of men.
I hate this.
And I was probably 21. There was like a whole car full of men who drove slowly behind me and then next to me, and they were like honking and catcalling me, like yelling out the window. It was so fucking scary to me. Like, dudes, any dude who thinks that like catcalling a woman is a compliment to her, it's not. It's fucking scary because like
that's frightening.
They could have pulled me into the car easily. I was like I probably weighed 95 pounds. I was like the smallest like 21-year-old.
Doing it because they think it's
it's a power thing. But you hear so many people make that argument where they're like, it's a compliment, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's scary.
It's not.
Yeah.
And in your mind, you're just praying that one dude in that car is.
It's like, hey guys,
yeah,
stop it.
That's the only prayer that you have.
Be that dude.
We've all been there.
Be that dude. To our male listeners, be that dude. Be that guy.
We are so lucky because, like, on our worsties page, like, our dudes are
awesome,
so respectful,
the best, and they oftentimes comment about like we give them praise for being so wonderful,
right?
And they like throw it right back. It's great. Anyway, yeah.
Love our group.
Me too.
All right, this one I got off of Reddit. And I just titled it Golf Disaster.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. This is not funny.
Oh, God. Except that you're like dying laughing.
Met a girl in a college class and noticed she was looking at golf clubs on eBay. Being a golfer myself, I figured it was a perfect conversation starter and went with it. After an exchange of numbers and some conversation, we had a golf date at a local country club for the next afternoon. So I'm like, that's kind of super cute, actually, right?
A golf date. Yeah.
So the first few holes went well, but then the 7th hole happens. I'm about 230 yards from the green, so I pull out my 3-wood. Hey, now
that's what she said. Chinese to me. I don't understand.
I see the pair of sandhill cranes. They were about 150 yards down the fairway.
Scenic.
So I paid them no attention. I take my swing, and to my surprise, the ball was a low line drive that got no more than a few feet off the ground.
Oh, shit.
And to my surprise, one of the birds was in the way of the ball.
You're going to kill a beautiful crane.
It was a direct hit to the neck, and the bird went down for good. Sandhill cranes mate for life. So when one of them dies, the other will sit there for hours crying for the other one.
Oh no. I am devastated.
It was sad, but little did I know she loved these birds, and the look on her face was horrific. She broke down in tears. We played the last 2 holes with maybe exchanging 10 words. Didn't hear from her again. I'm sorry.
Oh,
your fucking face.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. That's fucking terrible. It was like an accident. It's horrific, and I would be crying too. I would be mortified.
I don't think I would finish golfing.
I think I would have to go
the day's over.
It's over. We're done here.
I'm It's so sad. You guys, this is why I can't watch like Planet Earth because like this shit makes me so
They
sad.
made for life. And then the other one was like,
what
saw
she's
her
supposed to
fucking-
do. She's widowed.
Oh my God.
It's horrible.
I hate it. I actually imagine it the other way around is that the lady died, but
A widower. Either way, devastating.
Devastating. Yeah.
oh, I hate it.
I'm so
Christina,
sad.
that's the worst.
I don't think I'm
like
gonna
that one.
recover at all.
Also concerned about you crying. Keegan, can you come in here and shut the door, please?
I know.
I'm sorry.
You're laughing
I
so
just,
hard.
like,
I'm worried.
It's so
too.
terrible. It's literally like, I'm like, what can go wrong on a golf date? And it literally
That-
is
Also,
the craziest fucking
I think
shit.
I might end it all if I accidentally kill a crane. Like they're so beautiful.
They're so gorgeous.
I would just be
I didn't
like-
know they made it for life until this story.
I'd be like, my life's over. Actually, like I accidentally just killed a crane, and I can't recover from this.
Right.
I'm done.
Right.
Put a fork in me.
Oh
I'm done.
my God.
Okay. Jesus. All right. So this was sent to us via Facebook Messenger from our good friend Liz, who we've talked about on this podcast several times.
And she's okay that you just blasted
Yeah,
her?
I'm sure she is. I'll check with her. We'll bleep it if she's not, but I'm sure she is. She's pretty chill.
Yeah.
And I think she's real chill with it because she says, "Okay, ladies, some of the worsties want to hear my fuckboy story." So she talked about this in
Excellent.
the Facebook, and I think she
I
wanted
wanna
us
hear
to
it.
tell it on
Yeah.
the podcast. So she says, "Here we go. Before I started dating my current boyfriend, I was casually seeing a guy we'll call PJ. I thought he was really sweet, and in the beginning, I thought he was trustworthy. Now I have a rule for myself. If I go raw dog with anyone, that person is the only person I sleep with, and I demand the same respect."
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my rule too. So
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like that's just common courtesy. Listen.
also, can we talk about, like, for whatever reason, the term raw dog always makes me chuckle.
It
so
makes me think of a
gross.
hot dog every time. Literally every time. Like a raw hot dog.
It's
Like,
the least sexy thing. It's like, oh, do you want to go
have
raw
you
dog?
ever in
You're
your
like,
in your
no,
childhood as
that
like
sounds horrible.
a lazy fucking kid, have you ever eaten a raw hot dog, like a cold one
Yes.
in the fridge?
Yeah.
Like that's what I think of.
Ugh.
Like that cat
texture.
food meaty pate texture that's on the inside of a hot dog. That's what I think of. Anyway,
Gross.
Not sexy is what you're saying.
Can't wait to go raw dog tonight. Woo!
She says, "Not everyone feels this way, and that's their right. However, I have a compromised immune system because of a thyroid disorder called Graves' disease. Red flag numero uno. He was incredibly reluctant to this rule, but didn't want to, quote, lose me. So he said, okay, fine. In dude bro voice. She
Okay,
says,
fine.
okay, fine. And
I don't trust
I don't
that.
trust it. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that. Like a sullen agreement. No.
That means you're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And we continued with our courtship. About a week after this conversation, he starts acting really fucking weird, and I keep poking the bear till finally he tells me I got drunk and slept with some random girl at the bar without a condom.
Ugh. Bye.
I was livid. I didn't speak to him for about a week, but I'm a sucker for redemption, and when he hit me up and profusely apologized, but also, red flag numero dos, didn't want to fully commit, which I was kind of like, yeah, I don't really want to commit to you either because you're kind of a douche.
Yeah.
She said, I accepted. And then in a parenthetical, she says, Keegan, I can see your side eye. Quit it. I know.
Oh, somebody know Keegan.
Hi. And
Hi, Liz.
And
What's
when
up?
I was reading this, I like my lips were pursed. I felt like my grandma. I was like, A couple of weeks go by, and PJ gets a call from rando hookup, and his face goes white. He gets off the phone and says, "So we have to get tested for chlamydia because that's what that call was." Ladies, you know how I've said I'm petty as fuck when I really want to be? I decided right then, stick a fork in me because I am done. This is when PJ decides he wants to commit. Oh my, I get it now, blah, blah, blah.
Listen, Pearl Jam, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, I know. I do not like initials,
I don't either.
but oh my God.
I get tested the next day. I was 100% clear, by the way, and he did as well. Luckily, also clear. The next day, I blocked him from my phone, from social media, from everything. Yes, this is a ghost story. I'm still not sorry. The end.
Bye,
Good.
bitch.
Yeah, no.
Bye.
No, I told her, I was like, this is an acceptable time to go someone.
Yeah.
Dude, absolutely.
I expect you to ghost after that shit.
Absolutely.
Fuck you.
Experiences that you have to go through where you should ghost. You should.
Yeah, that person doesn't deserve a goodbye. They put your health at risk.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely
I
fucking not. And you had an agreement. Like, you had discussed it.
Right.
He agreed to a thing and then decided, like, nah, I'm going to do this other thing. Yeah.
All right. So this one is also from a tweet because Tyler Oakley, who you guys I'm certain are familiar with, he's pretty famous YouTuber.
Oh, yeah.
Also posted What's Your Worst Day? And so I got some really fun ones off of there. So in fact, 608 people already liked this. So it maybe already somebody saw this, but I thought this was a good one.
Good
also
discussion, though, yeah.
Also too, I totally messaged him and I was like, you should double date with us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, everybody wants to know.
I've been meaning to, and I will this week start putting our podcast up on YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So, okay. So this one's from at WRD14 out of context Wes. Wow. That was really hard to say.
Out of context Wes. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So he says at an upscale restaurant, he pulled up a pic of an antiqued parchment paper on his phone and scream read his excommunication letter from the Mennonite church that was written by his church leader, his father. Management came over and asked if I felt I was in danger.
Oh my God.
He asked to sit on the same side as me and hold hands.
I hate that.
When
hate that.
Food came, I politely said, I need both hands to cut my food. And he yelled, if you don't want to hold my hand, just say so.
Okay, I don't want to hold your hand.
He ordered 2 bottles of wine, but didn't share with me.
Oh, that's the most egregious thing in this whole story. I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
What?
So not only did you down 2 bottles of wine, which is way too much for one person during dinner, but also you didn't at least split it with me. If I was at least a bottle of wine deep, I'd feel a lot better about this date.
You scream read your excommunication letter.
And for why?
I don't know.
Same side.
it.
That's weird. Like, I mean,
I hate that.
All evidence to the contrary, given the recent developments in my life, I am somewhat a stickler for my own space. And I'm like, I feel closer to people across the table where I can
eye contact.
But that's my closeness is a mental thing.
Yeah.
Some people's closeness is a physical
Some people
thing.
like that physical thing. I don't have as much shade for people if they want to sit on the same side, as long as you're not being fucking gross about it. Like, I was at a restaurant the other day. And look, PDA, fine, whatever. But like holding hands, whatever. But like, they were sitting next to each other at a restaurant, making out hardcore for minutes, full minutes. And I was like, I felt like the oldest person in the room. Like, I was like sneering, looking at them, just like, that's just not
all
right.
of a sudden your name changed to Doris.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
were like,
I was full on like ethyling them. Like, I was like, no.
Effling.
I hate this.
I'm going to give you some ethyl. You need to take that shit elsewhere.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Behind closed doors, please.
Fucking amazing. All right, this one I titled Perfect Fit.
You titled it that?
Yeah, I fucking love. I forget where I found this one. This has been sitting in my email for a while. I slept with a guy on our first date. He was on top.
I don't know why I'm already laughing. I'm like, great.
At first, I thought he was sweating. No big deal. I'm a trooper.
Oh.
Then I looked up after a weird muffled sob, and he was crying.
No.
Oh, no.
As I stared up into his tear-filled eyes in horror, he stated, "Oh my God, I'm in love with you."
Honey.
Cassie's gone. No. Smack your hand. Give me your hand. No. At this point,
No.
I stated loudly, "I have to go. My mom is calling."
How do you slide yourself out of that position?
Crab walk?
Yeah, and you're like, can you just
rolled him off of me, grabbed my stuff, got dressed while walking out of his house. He called after me, sobbing in the doorway. I turned halfway down the driveway, still pulling a shirt on over my head.
Yeah, you're like, I'm willing to go out in my bra. Goodbye.
Our signs are compatible. No! We fit perfectly together, even in the heavens.
I love it. That's amazing. I have to say that I fucking love it when dudes are big into astrology. Like, because you don't see that very often. It's usually
also,
chicks.
He had to have like fucking Snoopy pants to her.
He
beforehand, he's like,
he looked at her birth chart. He found out what time she was born. He texted her mom. Right?
Wait, that's the first date?
First date.
Absolutely fucking not. A man is crying on you. Like full
you're like
drips of tears.
You're like in it. You're like, oh, he's like sweating.
Ew,
you open your eyes and he's like,
can I also say, like, if you are dripping sweat on me, goodbye. Okay, I don't like that either.
I don't love that. I've had dripping sweat. I've had a crier.
No.
During?
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes.
Look, I've never cried because of sex ever.
Your new name. What? Why don't I know this?
It's the
story
captain.
Yet? Oh.
It's the captain who's like all quote unquote spiritual, and he's
fuck
like
off.
used that shit to hide his shitty behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The worst.
One of those.
Those people are the worst.
The worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, he cried during.
Anyway. Okay. Wow. I think that's all of our stories.
Yikes.
So what an ending. Guys, we haven't seen each other. We haven't recorded in like 2 weeks, so that's why you're getting all of this.
I'm getting a little bit extra.
On the shorty. It's a fat shorty episode.
Yeah.
So
and that's how I like it. Fat shorty.
Yeah.
Like a Coke can. Really? Yeah. Great.
Oh my God. If you have stories, whether they be short or long or like Coke cans, please write them into myworstdatepodcast@gmail.com. And we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media podcast.